Hi guys, Galen Fincher here with 123cruisefree.com. Today I want to talk to you about passports. Why? Because I get questions all the time from people that are wanting to go on a cruise and they say, well, my friend said that I can just cruise with a birth certificate and a driver's license. Is that true? Yes, it is true. But guess what? If something should happen and you need to come back home, you can't fly back home. You've got to ride that cruise out until you get to your home port and then drive back home. Passport, it's only about $160 and you can typically get it in around 2 or 3 weeks once you make your application. It lasts for 10 years, so that total investment is costing you about $16 per year. And then you can travel almost anywhere in the world. So I know what people are thinking, and when they think they're just going to take their birth certificate and their driver's license, what do you think they think? They're thinking that, well, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen, right? But just like the travel protection, I want you to be proactive in your thinking because anything could happen. Because once we're doing something, pretty much in all phases of our life, we're not thinking about the things that could go wrong. And this is one of those situations where you want to make sure that you're protected in case something should happen. For instance, I probably have told this story before that I've had a few clients who've had family members pass away while they're on their vacation, about the second day of their vacation. And then they had to fly back home. Well, without a passport, guess what? They would have to remain on their vacation, remain on their cruise, and just ride it out, because it doesn't matter if someone did die in your family. The airline's not going to let you board a plane without a passport. So not only are you going to be grieving right now, you're most likely going to miss the funeral as well. So that's just one reason. So what happens if you get injured, if you have an accident? What happens if you get sick? And, well, guess what? You don't want to take the primary care in Mexico or, Progreso, Mexico. You don't want primary care in Mexico. You'd rather be home at your own personal physician's place so that they can really take care of you. Well, guess what? With a birth certificate and a driver's license, you're just going to have to suck it up and ride it out. Here's one of my favorites. It's a story that I'm relaying to you. Thank God it's not one of my clients, but it's a ship left without me story. So there's this guy that he and his family are on a cruise from Fort Lauderdale, and they're at Atlantis in Nassau, Bahamas. Now, they've set up the best laid plan. They've all discussed it. They're in their meeting area. We are all going to meet back here at 3 p.m., and then we're going to head right back over to the ship, all of us together as a family. Well, the father meets back. Boom. He's there. He's waiting. 3 p.m. rolls around. It's a ghost town. Well, maybe they're just running a little bit late. 4 p.m. rolls around. It's a ghost town. About 4:45, a golf cart rolls up and a guy says, "Are you Mr. So-and-so?" He goes, "Yeah, I am Mr. So-and-so." He says, "Well, get in the cart. We got to go." So they haul butt all the way back to the cruise port, and guess what? The ship is already pulling away. It's so close that he can touch it with his foot. But guess what? The ship's not going to stop. So what happens next? Well, first of all, he realized that all of the passports were in the backpack of another passenger who had already gotten on the ship. So, fortunately for him, the guy in the golf cart was communicating with some of the ship's staff, and they were telling him exactly what to do, which was, we need for you to put him up in a hotel, then he needs to go to the U.S. Embassy, make his passport application. While he waits for that passport to be processed, he still needs that hotel to stay in. So 2 or 3 days later, he can get his passport and either meet them at the next port or fly home. So this guy is stressed out beyond belief. And you can imagine, you know, during the day while everybody's there, it's a beautiful tourist place, right? But then while you're there alone, all of a sudden you realize, I'm different than everyone here, and this turns into the Bourne supremacy. So now he's just completely concerned for his safety. The hotel that the guy put him up in is a budget hotel, so it was less than what he actually desired. But it helped him save some money because from here on out, everything is coming out of his pocket because, one, he didn't get the travel protection. So he's just got whatever money he's got on him and his credit cards. Guess what else he forgot? His phone charger. So his phone is almost dead, so he's trying to communicate with his wife. Text messaging. I think he finally actually got her on the phone to tell her that he was okay and that somebody was helping him, but his phone went dead. So now he's completely without a phone. At least she knows that he's okay. He has no way of communicating with anyone. So the next thing is he goes to make his passport application. And, you know, you've got to have some ID. And all he really has is his driver's license and a birth certificate. So he's really, well, he didn't even have the birth certificate. All he had was his driver's license. So you can imagine how much more difficult the passport process is now because he doesn't have the identification that he needed to verify who he was. So the passport application actually took a little bit longer than it should have. He had it expedited, but I think it still took 2 or 3 days for him to get a passport. So he's still in this hotel. And guess what's happening while he's still in Nassau? Well, that ship just goes from one port to another port. So the port he thought he was going to fly to and meet them in, well, it didn't happen. So now the ship's on the way home. So he missed 1 or 2 ports, and now his only option is to, once he gets his passport, to fly all the way back home to Fort Lauderdale. Long story short, one, he should have had his passport, and I think in the comments he had said, I'll never let someone else have my passport. In fact, we always recommend to use your cell phone and take a picture of that passport, give it to me, give it to your family, give it to somebody to make sure that they have it in the event that you lose it. And the second thing he said was, I'll never travel without the travel protection. Why? Because they would have covered all of those expenses. They would have covered his meals, his hotel, his passport, and his flight back home, and any of the vacation that he has missed. So, you know, I know this was a passport story, but you really have to have the travel protection as well. All right, so whatever you do, don't go on a cruise without a passport, okay? Just get the dang passport. All right, again, this is Galen Fincher with 123cruisefree.com, and I'm going to talk to you later. Bye for now.